Hi, everybody. This past weekend, I was a keynote speaker at the CHN MiniCon. That's the California Homeschool Network's virtual conference. I spoke about growing your confidence, and I realized my podcast listeners might like a little bit of this too. So I'm going to give you the mini pep talk version. I'm Sue Patterson from Unschooling Mom to Mom, and I share weekly encouragement for those who want to look for alternatives to the traditional school approach for learning. Whether you're considering leaving the school system, traditional homeschooling approaches may not be working, you're new to unschooling, or even if you've been unschooling a while, but you could use a little pep talk. That's what I'm doing here. I'm an unschooling mom with grown kids. They're 32, 30, and 27. And I've decided to share what worked and what didn't, so your family can also find your unique way to live and learn with your kids. Your way won't be identical to my way because that's not what individualizing is all about. But that's more from my keynote talk. So I guess it's time we dive in. Confidence. It's something we all wish we had a little more of, right? It would be nice to wave a magic wand and everyone's fear evaporates. We want the best for our kids, and we certainly don't want to ruin their chances for success. And unschooling can feel very weird. It's not familiar, but I can tell you, unschooling works. It takes a little effort on your part as parents. For some, that resonates right away. School didn't measure up. Maybe you or your kid were at odds with the system from the get-go. People with this experience can skip a few of the obstacles that those that were good students have. Good students, you can see my air quotes, but they're there, figured out how to succeed in the system. Maybe you, figured out how to give the teacher what they wanted. And for that, you were rewarded. You didn't really get to follow your curiosity much, though, or get very far off the beaten path because you were told it's dangerous out there. So no worries, right? You believed them. You stayed safe. But now, here you are, wandering where there aren't any obvious road signs of step here or no, not there. It's often a trial and error approach. Everything seems to be an experiment. That can be hard when you're used to one right answer or some expert smiling and telling you you're doing it right. I know, I don't have to tell you. This part you know all too well, right? So how do you grow your confidence where you're not looking for approval all the time? How do you get comfortable with this unorthodox way of living and learning with your children? Well, I have a lot of tools that can help you, but let's start with these 5 steps into the unknown. Well, it's not really unknown because people have been learning this way for a long time. But number 1, what's your why? Why are you doing this? We've already figured out that we're going to have to overcome some pretty deep-rooted fears and issues. So we need to really know our own personal why. There are as many reasons to unschool as there are people who do it. So it's important to think about what your reasons are for your kids. Some may be similar to other people's, but think about why they matter to you. Why do they matter for your kid? Maybe it has to do with experiences you've had, or maybe experiences your child has had, or maybe it's because of personality traits and what's a better fit. So I want you to write them down. Think of 20 reasons. Okay, number 2, ready? Just tackle your fears. This can be a hard one to do because we naturally want to move away from doing things that make us uncomfortable. But it's the only way to get to the other side of the fear. You have to shine the light on it and break it apart. Podcast episode number 9 back in March was all about overcoming your fears. You might want to listen to that next. So you want to think about, is your fear rational? What parts are you kind of iffy on? Do you need more information? Did your mind go quickly to disaster mode when you just needed a little more time and information to explore it? Or maybe you need a little support on conquering some of these particular fears. Support and information is available. Reach out. I can help you find some. Number 3, observe your child. This is where you'll gather the data for the next move. This may be where you need to do a little more deschooling so you can see the learning that's happening without you orchestrating everything. When you take the time to see what they like about their games, shows, interactions with the world, then parents can understand their children better. This helps us know how to partner with them as they move through their lives. Number 4 is create your strategy. Just as you have to identify how your child learns best, you have to figure out how you learn best too. Do you like the full immersion of videos and courses? Or maybe your life's too chaotic and earbuds with podcasts are your best option right now. Or maybe you learn best through reading and gathering all the information you need to offset some of those fears and help you understand the concepts of unschooling. Or maybe you're better talking things through with people. Local groups or online groups might be your best bet, or even group and private coaching calls. Then you might have to also look at what time of day can you squeeze this in. I'm thinking when you're just starting out, and maybe it can be even something like a morning walk habit, but 30 minutes each day to keep learning, wherever you can fit it in. Remember, the information and support is what you need for this success. So you can do it, but you'll have to do your own legwork. You have to see what you need and how you can get yourself the resources that will help you. So you create your own personalized strategy. Number 5 is identify your resources. Tying in with identifying and setting up your own strategic plan is finding all the resources you need. The Unschooling Mom to Mom website has so much, not only resources from me, but also from unschoolers around the world. I've sifted through and created a curated website that will help you so much. So use that top navigation bar to poke around and find what you need. Maybe that will be part of your strategy. Every day you go see a new area that can help you become more confident. Then look around locally to see if others are starting to get together again. In non-pandemic times, support groups often fade a little in the spring and summer, but bounce back in the fall. Watch for planning meetings or create something yourself. It doesn't have to be complicated. Maybe I'll do an entire podcast on how to set up group activities in your community. Leave a note in the comments if you think that would be interesting, because it's so doable. And then you get to control the calendar. Anyway, if you're new, I really recommend my Jumping into Unschooling course. I've laid everything out in a way that will really help you walk away with a steady foundation. I'll put resource links in the show notes for that too. So that's what I recommend for growing your confidence. First, get clear about your why. Next, tackle your fears and see what's holding you back. Next, observe your child and discover how to partner with them better. Number 4 is create your own strategy. And number 5 is identify your unschooling resources. So I hope you have fabulous adventures with your kids. The membership program and the course are awesome ways to get more support as you figure all this out. So reach out and I'll talk to you again next week.